record. And Brian, why don't you take it away?
All right, thanks, Greg. So last week we went over objections, and we talked about all the different types, not all of them, but some objections that you're going to receive from customers. This week kind of ties into that, excuse me, because we're going to talk about failures and setbacks as a Beachbody coach. All right, so who here loves failure? Who loves to fail here? Let me see your hands. Who loves to fail? How many people here love failing? I don't see enough hands. It's a trick question. All right. When I first started Beachbody coaching, or all my life, obviously, nobody likes to fail. Nobody, everyone is fearful of failing. And it wasn't until I became a Beachbody coach and I did a lot of personal development and I did a lot of these calls that I discovered that failing is required. And it's not something that you should be fearful about. And the same thing goes with rejection, getting rejections. In fact, it is actually something that you should actively seek out and want to do. Look for that to do. Because the more that you fail, the more failures that you're going to have, the more successful you're going to be. I am going to share my screen real quick. I have a graphic up here, and I want to show you guys. I hate when I have trouble finding the right one. Okay, there we go. All right. I can't see you guys right now. Okay, everyone see that graphic? Greg, raise your hand. Just make sure everyone can see it. Okay. This is what I thought about success and about failure. That's me in the middle, or that's you in the middle. And either if I'm going in to the direction there to the right, I'm failing, and maybe I have to change my direction and then go back and change my mind, change my mindset, change what I'm doing, and go the other way to success. So I always thought there was two roads to it. Either I'm traveling down one road that's leading to failure, I'm traveling down one road that's leading to success. But in actuality, this is the correct way to get to success, right here. Failure is there on your way to success. That is how you reach success. You have to go through that adversity. You have to go through those failures, because when you go through those failures, first of all, you're going to learn. You're always going to learn from your failures. But it's something that is going to make you, when you're not fearful anymore, when you can accept that you're going to fail and you actively seek out, just like we talked about last week, we touched on it a little bit about going for no, about thinking it in a way a little bit differently, about trying to do your Beachbody coaching business. Trying to reach out, and everybody wants to get a yes. They want to get a yes here. They want to get a yes here. No one wants to hear no. Instead of changing your mindset and go, well, I do want to hear no. I love to hear no. I want to get as many no's as I can, because if I can do that, ultimately I'm going to get more yeses, and I'm going to be on that road to success. I want to read you guys something real quick here. This is from an excerpt from Go for No, and this is about what I'm talking about here, success and about failure. This is directly from the book right here. And in this, he's talking about, this is actually a really cool book. I don't know how many of you guys have it or how many of you guys read it. It's like a little story, some little time travel story, but there's a lot of great messages in it. And he's actually talking to his future self in this right here. But what he's saying is, when he finally realizes that there isn't two separate roads, there isn't one road that goes directly to success and one road that goes directly to failure, that it's the same road and you have to get through failure to get to success. He says, I realized that failure was the halfway mark on the road to success, not a destination to be avoided, but rather a stepping stone to get what I really wanted in life. Most people get to the sign marked failure and they figure they're heading in the wrong direction. They turn around and they head back home. They think that success must be back the other way, but it's not. It's straight ahead. I read somewhere that great leaders never use the word failure. Instead, they use words like mistake, glitch, or setback. This is silly and counterproductive. The word fail may have 4 letters in it, but it is not a 4-letter word. When people use cute substitutions, they treat it as if it were, we tried, but we hit a glitch, they say. Give me a break. Just say you failed. Big deal. Is that so hard? No wonder everyone on the planet thinks failing is something to be avoided at all costs. We sugarcoat it and dance around it and talk about it as if it were death. The best way to desensitize yourself to a word is to use it. And the best way to desensitize yourself to an action is to do it. So, the best way to desensitize yourself to failure is to just do it and to have that action and keep doing it with that action. He goes on to give an example here, and it's a really, it's an example of, and a lot of you guys here are parents, and it's that go for no principle that's in work here. So if you have a child and your child is, you're in the supermarket or something and he wants that candy bar. And he's, mommy, can you get me that candy bar? Daddy, can you buy me that candy? No. Mommy, daddy, can you get me that? I said no. But please, mommy, can you get me that? I said no. And how many times do you say no? Maybe 6 or 7 times. And then finally, maybe after the 8th or 9th time, oh, here you go. Here's the candy bar. And then give him the candy bar. Every time you said no to your child, did he take that rejection personally? No, he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Now, obviously, we're not all spoiled children when we're trying to do our business here, but the concept that is there is, do not take rejection personally. Do not take setbacks personally. Do not take failure personally. Because, let me stop the share right here. Because it isn't personal. It isn't personal. And the more courageous you are, and the more that you let go of your fears, and the more you don't fear something, the more you don't fear failure and fearing rejection. I mean, that's why a lot of coaches, and I started out the exact same way. I was scared to talk to people. I was scared to talk to people about these products. I was scared I was sounding like I was selling things to them. I was scared of the rejection. I was scared that I was going to fail and I was going to get that no. But once I stopped thinking in those terms, and once I stopped thinking about that failure was a bad thing, it just made it so much easier to talk to people. It made it so much easier when I did get rejected to say, okay, because every time I get rejected, I don't hear, no, never talk to me again. I hear, not right now. It's maybe later, but not right now. I've gotten that answer, no, and not right now, so many times as a Beachbody coach. And I know you guys too, a lot of the vet coaches in here, the newer coaches here, I can see people on this call that I've talked to about, and it's the same thing with the coaching opportunity. You get rejected. I see people here on this call that I presented the coaching opportunity to multiple times, and they said no. I was presented with it multiple times by Greg, and I said no, but he never gave up on me. So I just want you guys to know that you're going to go through failures, you're going to go through setbacks, things are going to happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're moving in the wrong direction. As a matter of fact, it means that you're moving in the right direction, if you can just take it for what it is. So we put together a little bit, a list of some setbacks that we're going to talk to you, that a lot of coaches experience. Some experienced all of these, maybe a couple of these, and I'm going to go through a few, and then Greg's going to go through a few, and Lisa's going to go through a few. What are some of the setbacks as a coach that you can experience? Things that you might think, you're failing. How about losing rank? Now, all you guys know as Beachbody coaches, the possibility does exist that you can lose your rank. And we talk a lot about getting to Emerald. And then once you get to Emerald, there's this word that we put in front of it called strong. And we put that word in front of diamond too, a strong Emerald or a strong diamond. And that's like a protection plan just in case you do have coaches that go inactive or leave the coaching business, that you will remain at Emerald. But it doesn't always work. It doesn't always happen. And you can hit Emerald and then maybe lose a coach or something. Coach goes inactive and then you drop down from Emerald. But that doesn't mean the world is over. It's just a minor setback. You can get right back to it. How about losing coaches? That's another setback. Coaches that want to, quit the business. I just had a coach not too long ago message me and told me that he was done and that he didn't want to do this anymore. So I reached out to him, obviously, and tried to talk to him and see if there's anything I can do. And after some discussion, he was dead set on his mind of leaving the business. I got to accept that. Is that a failure? Not really. Just a little setback. I can't control what other coaches do. And that kind of brings me into the other couple setbacks that you're going to go through too, is that you can't control other coaches' businesses. You just can't. We're here. I am here in my position as a leader in my network to try to prepare you guys, prepare my downline, not only with X's and O's, but with the right mindset, the right tools to be successful in this business. But I can only do so much. I can't control what other coaches are going to do. So when you sign up coaches and you might be having a coach going inactive and then you let them know, hey, listen, you need your PV otherwise, and you're looking at it because you might drop down from a rank. If they don't get their PV this week or whatever it is, as much as you can try, you can't control how they run their own business. You want to get to, I lost my rank from 1-star diamond. I dropped down to regular diamond because my coach lost a few of her coaches and she dropped down. She was at diamond and she dropped down to ruby. As much as I tried to help her and everything, there was only so much that I can do. And you have to realize that, it's their business. The only business that you can control is your own. You can't, you can try to help and train and everything, but you got to remember that this is your business and it's nobody else's. And no matter what is going to happen, nobody else, they may have a short-term effect on your business, but if you are in this for the long haul and you are in this to make this, we talked about your why and your vision and getting the Emerald and all that stuff, to make this something that is going to be very financially, lucrative for you and very emotionally and spiritually rewarding for you with helping people and helping coaches. You can only focus on what you can do with your own business. And if you have to move on, you have to move on. So, those are some of the setbacks that I've experienced, and we all experience them, so if you think when you get to the point where maybe you do lose a coach or you do drop in rank that you're the only one, you're not, but we still keep moving and pushing and going along. We don't quit, we persist without exception. So I'm going to throw it over to Greg because he's got a couple that he wants to talk to you about.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Good advice, good tips. And, just for you guys on the call, you might look at us as, very successful coaches, but I can tell you that me and Brian and Lisa, the diamonds on the call, that we've experienced every one of these failures. And, I can promise you one thing. You guys are all going to fail, okay? You guys are all going to have crises that come up in your life. Okay. Now the question is, how are you going to respond to those? And are you going to be here a year from now? I mean, I can't tell you how many coaches get started out right, I recruit, and they take off, and then they hit a little bump in the road. Maybe it's somebody died in their family, or I don't, something with their job, some bump in the road, and immediately they're gone. Their focus has totally shifted. It's like they're doing great in the business, and then all of a sudden, they're gone. Even though they're still there, they're mentally gone. Okay. So, one book, another book, Brian talked about Go for No, but one book that I recommend, I would say the number one book that I recommend all my coaches read, there's actually two. There's Go Pro, which I actually mail to most of my coaches, but the other one is The Compound Effect. Yeah, Brian, do you have The Compound Effect there by Darren Hardy? Yeah, I mean, those are my two favorite books. I mean, you guys definitely get those. They're both on Audible, so you can listen to them. I know Darren Hardy reads his own book, and he is amazing speaker, motivational speaker, but practical speaker as well. So, he talks about in The Compound Effect, that one, I would even say start with that one. I mean, it's just fantastic. He talks about, you have to get momentum going, because what is, Brian, do you remember the story about the penny? If you add a penny and it
it's
double.
Would you rather me give you a penny and double that every single day for 30 days, or just give you $1 million right now? Is that the story you mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And then most people would go, give me $1 million right now. I want, and without thinking it all the way through of what's happening every single day, that penny doubles and then doubles again, doubles again. And then before you know it, I think it came out to $13 million.
Right. Yeah. So if you took the penny a day and doubled it, it would be 13 million. And that's the kind of the way that I look at this business. If you continue to work it consistently every single day, I mean, I've had ups and downs. I've lost diamonds, I've fallen in rank. My income has gone up and down. I've lost coaches. I've lost customers, but I don't let those road bumps get me down. I just continue to work the business. I mean, I've had struggles at home. My daughter ran away, I mean, did I completely forget the business and oh, I gotta focus on that, and, forget, my customers and my coaches that depend on me? No, I mean, treat this like a business, right? Treat this like you do your job. If you had a death in the family, would you stop going to work? Yeah, you might take a week off, but are you going to just quit? No, right? So I challenge you guys, commit to being here a year from now. No matter what comes up, commit to being here a year from now and work the business however much you can every single day. So if you can do an hour a day, make sure you do an hour a day. Treat it like your job. Are you just going to blow off your job and say, I'm not going to work today? I mean, same with this business. I mean, just don't blow it off. If you set a goal for yourself that I'm going to send 10 invites a day, or I'm going to send 10 friend requests a day, don't blow it off, So, Brian asked me to talk about a couple specific failures. One of those is, coaches stealing customers. Now, we all know that, many of us probably switched coaches before. You landed upon me or Brian or Lisa, because you didn't have the right coach, or your coach didn't respond to you, or whatever. So, I mean, it happens. I mean, don't get down. Now it kind of sucks. I have one coach who's been a coach for several months, and she's got one customer. Now, why does she only have one customer? That's another issue, but she's only got one customer, and that customer switched, from her to another coach. So that was devastating to her, So, we lose coaches, we lose customers, and that's just kind of part of this business. Now, coaches can't switch, just for the record. Coaches can't switch, but they can quit, Customers can switch coaches. And it happens all the time. I lose customers all the time, but I also get people that want to switch to me all the time too. So, I don't get down about it. I just move on. Coaches quit on me all the time. I don't, they just don't get this business, or they get frustrated or whatever. But I don't get down about it. I just move on and try to find more coaches. So my goal is to find more coaches than I'm losing, because I know that I'm going to find those diamonds in the rough, those coaches that want it as bad as I want it, as bad as Brian wants it, as bad as Lisa wants it. And if I can get, more of those coaches, then I know that I'm going to come out ahead. So, and same with customers. You're going to get customers who don't want to buy from you, who will switch or whatever. Don't worry about it. I mean, just keep looking for those customers that will want to get a program, will want to get a challenge pack, will want to get started with you, and will remain loyal to you guys. So that's my advice. Not all coaches have a good work ethic. Lisa or Brian, what did you mean by that one?
I kind of meant that some coaches purposely go out and try to steal customers from other coaches. Like, they're not, the way that I approach people is, if someone approaches me, one of the first things I'll say to them when we start talking about all this is, are you currently working with another coach? And if they tell me yes, I back off a little bit, unless, I'll say, are you have like a working relationship with them, or you just know that you have one? And if they have a working relationship with them, I direct them towards that coach. I don't poach, right? I call it poaching, because that's not who I am. I find that icky. When you go on the message boards, sometimes you can see, I call those guys vultures, and they make us look bad. It really, like, sometimes you'll see someone post a question, and they like pounce on there. And it's to the point where, like, I can't even go in there really anymore. It's almost like they seek out trying to find other people's customers. And that's what I meant by that, right? Like, I feel like on our team, we don't necessarily do that. We don't go poaching. Like, if someone's working with someone, you send them back to that coach. You don't purposely try to recruit them to your team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Brian and I are on the message boards, but we always ask, are you engaged with a coach?
Yeah, but we don't do what Lisa said. I don't.
No. We don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, if you go in there, like, sometimes someone will be like, I can't even think of a question that I've read where all of a sudden you have 50 coaches. Well, I'd love to have you on my team. Here's my information. I'm sending you a private message. And it comes off very used car salesman-y.
Right.
Right. Like what a lot of people say when they sign up, or when they're thinking about signing up, I don't really want to be a salesman. That's the kind of coach that they don't want to be. That's the kind of coach that feels icky. And that's what I was talking about. Not that, because I know, Greg, you rock on the message boards, but like, there are some coaches on there, I call them vultures, because they like pounce on people and try and pull them in.
Yep. Okay. Thanks for clearing that up.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Since we're talking about this. So I have a situation where this lady who is a friend of mine, who said that she wasn't doing anything with Beachbody, recently friended me and is all over my stuff. And I found out that she's doing Beachbody. So I don't want to not be her friend, but I decided not to follow her because I don't want to be influenced by what she's doing. Is there any advice on how to deal with somebody like that?
So she's a coach.
I know she originally told me she was a discount coach. And now I know she has customers that are friends of mine personally. So I just don't really know what to do with her, I guess, because now she's commenting on everything I do, and she seems to be, wanting to get involved in what I'm doing.
Well, do you have your is she like commenting on your posts? Is that what she's doing on your timeline, or is this on your like page? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, just liking my posts and making comments about it.
Well, I mean, she could just be benefiting your business. Like I definitely have coaches who are not anywhere on our team. Like I've met them through like Facebook groups, and they'll post on there. Like I said something today about starting P90X3 today, and one of them was in there, and she's like, "That's an awesome program." Like she's helping me. There are definitely sometimes it's not so much other Beachbody coaches; it's other product reps that will be a little bit more aggressive. But usually, I have, at least personally, I haven't had another Beachbody coach try like poach one of my customers off of my page. I've had it works people try and do it, but not other Beachbody coaches. Sometimes just their feedback on your comments or whatever, on your status updates or whatnot, will actually benefit you because they're chiming in and saying other positive things about what you're talking about.
Unless she's doing something real specific, like telling people, "Hey, come over here," or "I'm opening up a new group, a new 10-day challenge, clean eating challenge. Why don't Perry come join me and everyone else come." If she's posting stuff like that, then you got to talk to her.
Right.
You got to be like, "Hey."
Well, I'm just trying not to follow her because her business is her business, and she's going to do what she's going to do, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and just hopefully she is trying to help.
Sure.
But,
I mean, yeah, I have.
Thank you.
Just because of my rank and all. I mean, I have hundreds of coaches that are my friends that are not in our network, and I think it's kind of good to follow some of them because you can see what other coaches are doing. And like Lisa and Brian said, they I've never really had a problem, but occasionally I'll get one of them in my free group who's kind of clueless, and I'll be talking about Shakeology, for example, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, how do I go about getting that?" And then this Beachbody coach jumps in, "Oh, you can get it from me." And I'm like, "Okay, you're out of the group."
I've experienced that a couple of times too, running my groups, and just like Greg said, it's usually because they just don't know. They're naive, and they don't realize it. And then you send a message or an email to them, and they've apologized to me and said, "Oh, I sorry," and then you explain it. And I'll be honest with you guys. I before coaching and before changing my whole lifestyle, I was a very cynical and skeptical person, and I always, every time somebody did something, or I always thought if they had ulterior motives, and just that, and that was the way that the world worked, and was completely wrong. Now, are there people out there like that? Of course there are. But the majority of the people that you meet every single day are not like that. Do you need to be cautious? Yeah, sometimes, you definitely do. But I learned that. And Beachbody taught me that in personal development, that not everybody is out there to grab your piece of that pie you're baking. So be cautious, yeah, but don't have that. Every time someone jumps on your group or your thread or something that they're looking to do something behind your back or this and that. Because Beachbody coaches are for the most part, that are doing this business, are doing it for all the right reasons.
Okay, so the next one is negative feedback. So a lot of times you will get negative feedback Okay. Now, this could be as simple as somebody posts a negative comment on your picture, that you had posted on social media. And that might make you mad and make you want to retaliate against that person. Never do that. Never, get into any kind of, verbal war with them, especially on social media. But, a lot of times the negative feedback comes from the people that are closest to us as well. Like if you are making improvements to yourself, it's very possible that your spouse or your best friends will think that you are getting better than they are, right? They'll get kind of jealous and they may kind of try to drag you down, So they might make comments like negative comments and things like that. And you kind of got to look at, what their motives are. And you can't let that discourage you, Like if your spouse is, making negative comments, then it's best just to, sit down and have a discussion about, what you're doing and why you're trying to do it. And, try to encourage your spouse to, join you and, become healthier and to get in shape as well if they're willing to. But if they're not, that's okay. Just tell them that, you still love them, you're still here for them, and, maybe it's your friends. If you go out, with your friends drinking and having, burgers and fries, and then all of a sudden you stop doing that and now you're working out and drinking Shakeology, they're going to feel like you're dissing them, right? That you're better than them now. And they might make some negative comments or, joke, that, whatever, like my brother-in-law, he would always make comments, every time I go to Summit or, a Beachbody trip that I'm just going down there to, be one of Tony Horton's followers and rub oil on him or whatever, And, I just like, okay, you'll get it. You'll get it someday, you'll come around, and I don't let it discourage me. It's
he doesn't still do that. I mean, he must have come around now.
Oh no, he understands, but yet he still makes comments all the time. So I don't let it worry me. And luckily, my wife is very supportive. But I know a lot of new coaches, don't have those supportive spouses, and or your parents or your friends, or if somebody's making negative comments, that can easily discourage you guys, and the best way is just to put yourself in their shoes, understand where they're coming from. It's not that they hate what you're doing. It's not that they don't support you and love you. It's just that they feel like you are leaving them, that they're jealous, so you just got to talk to them and communicate with them and get them on board. It's like, my wife really didn't understand. She wasn't really, on board, I'll say, she kind of supported me and let me do, it was like a hobby for like the first year or two, and she's just like, yeah, kind of treated it like when I used to play video games. Yeah, he's doing his hobby thing again, But when I got her to go to Summit, that was the big deal. Okay. So, you guys are going to have an opportunity to go to Summit next year. Get on the waiting list, get your tickets, because that'll be a game changer, not only for you, but for your spouse. Because if you can get them to a huge event like that, it is mind-blowing. It's game-changing. Trust me. Now, you don't have to wait till Summit, though, because there's Super Saturdays that go on all over the country, and you can find big events, local events that are near you. And wife or husband along to those events, and they can kind of see what it's all about, and then they know that, oh, okay, there's real people doing this, there's other people. It's not just you working out in your living room and whatever, right? So I encourage you guys to do that. The next Super Saturday is October 17th. So just talk to me or one of your coach, and we can help you get hooked up with a Super Saturday that's near you.
Everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're so don't think it's like, oh, there are a few places or I'm echoing.
Yeah, but I would encourage you to find the large ones, and we can help you do that. Dean, for example, you don't want to go to the one that's closest to you because you're kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. You want to get to like, Memphis or Nashville, do that 2-hour drive because it'll be worth it. If you can get to a bigger one, where there's hundreds of coaches there, it'll be so much better. Okay, another setback that we see, that we all experience, is comparing ourselves to others. Like, there's sayings about comparison, but it's really a killer. It'll kill your business if you are seeing other coaches that maybe started after you and they're already rank advancing and they're already hitting Success Club and Success Club 10, and you're still not, and you're getting more and more frustrated. That's just gonna kill your business. Like, you're gonna get frustrated, you're gonna want to leave. It's like, don't compare yourself to others. If you're feeling frustrated, Lewis was telling me, I think, right, that you were feeling frustrated or, too much information, you weren't really right. And then we had a conversation on Facebook and I said, let's get on the phone because, I don't want you to feel frustrated. Like, if you guys are getting information overload, or if you're trying to run a free challenge and you don't know what you're doing or whatever, then just talk to your coach, talk to me, because we'll definitely help you out. We'll help you get going. We'll answer any questions that you have. We'll do a one-on-one call or whatever. But there are some coaches that are going to accelerate faster. And that happens to me all the time. There was a girl who wasn't on our team, but she was a local coach, and I was mentoring her in the beginning. And she was a brand new Emerald. And I even talked her mom into signing up as one of her coaches. And now her mom is a 2-star diamond, and she's a 10-star diamond. And she's already passed me, and she's in the top 20. So I'm like, why aren't I in the top 20? But I don't want to compare myself to others, because there are people that are moving slower than I am. There's people that are moving faster than I am. But I just need to look at my business, like, what am I doing? What can I improve on every day? How can I take my business to the next level and not worry about what anybody else is doing? Yeah, I mean, if you're struggling to hit Success Club 5, or you're struggling to start a free group, then reach out to me, Brian, or Lisa, and we can definitely help you with that. But if you're just frustrated because you're not a diamond yet, don't worry about it. It'll happen. As long as you stay consistent and you keep doing these things, it'll happen. So that's all on my list. Lisa, you want to do yours?
Sure. Oh, I'm echoing. Am I echoing right here?
Yeah, you're echoing.
Here, let me mute myself.
Is it Greg?
Is that better? That's better. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So I have, my first one is like family stuff, family emergencies, because I'm clearly the queen of that topic. Those of you who are under Brian and sat in on the call that I talked on, I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat myself here for a minute. But for those of you who don't know my backstory, I have basically had the gamut of things that could happen to you since I've become a Beachbody coach. I rocked it out in the first, I don't even know how long it was that Greg kind of took me under his wing and I was cruising. I hit diamond and lost one of my emeralds, and I just started tanking, right? And I lost rank there for a while. And as that was happening, my dad, who was suffering from ALS, started declining. I lost my dad in October of, it'll be 2 years now, so October 2013. And at the time I was 4 months pregnant. I remember when I told Greg that I was pregnant, I could tell he was like, oh, because I was still kind of like cruising at the time. And I remember him being like, are you still going to work the business? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm totally going to work the business. And then I got like fat and uncomfortable. And I was like, yeah, I can't work out. Like, this isn't good. But as my dad started to go down, my business started to go down. I couldn't focus on that anymore. And when I lost my dad, I like stepped out of Beachbody. I had a baby girl, about 6 months later. And as I started to kind of like turn a little bit, like I pressed play, I think on X3, like 3 times, my mom started declining, and I lost her 3 months after I had my girl. So within a matter of 9 months, I lost both of my parents. And, as Greg said, things are going to happen. For me, he asked, if you're going to stop working, and I did stop working. I was pregnant. Mentally, I couldn't handle it. Like, my dad was my rock, and his death put me over the edge. And then losing my mom shortly thereafter just put the nail in the coffin. So I stepped back from Beachbody completely, and I had really gone into that time period doing well. And I just let it go. And if there's one thing that I can tell you about this business, it's you're not going to see the effects of something right away. It's going to happen a month from now or 2 months from now. So we all have those months where like things get really hectic, like right now, back to school, right? And it's crazy. Like, you're trying to get your schedules back. You're not necessarily going to see the repercussions of those actions like right then and there, but you will see them next month or the month thereafter, right? All the things you're kind of slacking on right now, you're going to see that down the road. And I'm the prime example of that. I had 3 major things happen to me there in a matter of months, and I was just gone. But as Greg said, there kind of has to come a point where you have to figure out what you're going to do. I'm not going to be the person who tells you that if you lose a family member, you need to come back tomorrow, because I did not do that. I needed time to grieve that process, and all of us deal with things differently. My coach lost his dad, and I remember watching him still working out every single day and coaching every single day. And I was like, how the hell is he doing that? Because my brain just couldn't function. Right? We all handle things differently. But there comes a point where you need to figure out if today's the day where you're going to pull up your panties and jump back on the horse, or if today's the day where you're just going to continue to lay down in bed. And hopefully you get to the point where you decide, like, today's the day I'm coming back. Because there's always a comeback, right? You just have to make that choice. So things will come up. There will be setbacks that knock you back. There will be things where someone in your family gets sick, one of your kids gets sick, or there's something that's happening with one of your children that you need to put your attention on. And that's fine that happens. But, again, you're going to come to a crossroads where it's, are you coming back or are you letting go? And I'm fairly certain that Greg thought I wasn't coming back, because I was gone for a while, but I came back, and I'm better than I was going into that phase. And, I was doing well there for a while. So there's always room for coming back, right? You just have to make that decision. Not hitting Success Club, it should be one of your goals. If it's not, that should be at the top of your list. Well, if you haven't hit Emerald, you need to get up there first. And then monthly, you need to be aiming for Success Club. But there are some months where it might not happen, right? You're going to push and you're going to fight in order to try and make it happen. But it is not the end of the world if you do not, right? It sucks, and you can pout about it. You can be pissy about it for like a day or two. But then, you're starting a new month, and it's time just to jump back on the horse and push for that month, right? Like, when I don't do well, I like let it piss me off to the point where I'm like, I'm going to get you now, right? Like, I use it as like fuel to my fire. And that might just be like the Latin in me, and my husband says that's the case, but like, I let it tick me off to the point where I need to push harder. So if you don't hit it, don't let that make you think like, oh, I suck at this. I'm out. I'm done, right? That's not, make it drive you further the next month. You didn't hit Success Club 5, fantastic. Hit 10 next month, right? Aim high. Never just shoot low, right? If you're pushing for Success Club, shoot at 10, because if you fall short, you're still hitting 5, right? But don't let not hitting it make you feel like you stink at this and you weren't made for this, because all of us have gone to the point where like we just haven't hit it, right? Every coach has had a month where they haven't hit Success Club. It doesn't mean that you stink, right? Negative Success Club points. And I put this one on the list because that's how I started this month. Last month, I had 38 points. This month, on day one, I had -2. That sucks, right? I don't know if any of you have ever seen that in your back office where you have -2 or like negative something. There was one month, I think, where Jason had written on there, he had like -10, right? And I think it was like a scam, like someone had like done some kind of like naughty stuff where they ordered all these things under somebody's card and like all of the stuff was then returned and you get dinged for that. There will be months where you're going to see people return products and you're going to see negative points go on there. It happens. It stinks, but it's part of the game because we can't get paid or given credit for things that don't exist anymore. Right? You're going to get the points when something happens. You're going to get the commission when something happens. But when they send that stuff back, they have to take it back from you. So again, it can be really frustrating. You can be like, oh my God. Like when I saw that on the first day of this month, I was like, ugh. Now I know because I'm always shooting for 10. Now I know I have to sell at least 6 challenge packs, but I'm still going to do it. It's going to be a little bit more time consuming and I'm going to have to push a little bit harder. And after like a really high month like last month, it's frustrating, but I'm not going to let it knock me back, right? So when you hit those little snags where you see negative or you see in your commissions that it's negative, again, brush it off. You start the next day, right? If you need to be pissy about it for a day, because I like being pissy for a day or two maybe, but then get over it, right? And again, make it drive you harder to be successful. And then the last thing I had were friends and family buying from other coaches. This happens all the time. And it's not even like what Greg said, where people are like poaching. This is like, you are like, let's say you post something on Facebook and one of your friends writes on there like, oh my, yeah, I just bought this. And I just started this. And you're like, what? Huh? And you like write to them. You're like, when did you get it? And they're like, oh, I bought it from Betty, this girl that I went to high school with like 20 years ago. And you're like, well, you're my best friend and you knew that I'm doing this. It happens, right? They don't know. A lot of people don't know how this works, right? They don't know that we get commissions on things. They see what you're doing, but they might not understand that like this is your business. Because if you aren't posting consistently on your Facebook page, if you're not like making it known that this is what you do, like this is how you're making money, they don't know, right? That's why posting consistently on your page is also important because people see like, oh, okay, they're taking this serious, like this is a business for them. But a lot of times they don't know, and then like Betty next door is like, hey, you should buy this program from me, and they're like, okay, and they do, and they don't do it intentionally, but it's very easy for us to get offended by that and for us to think that like the whole world is out to get us, that Betty knew that we were a coach and Betty poached. Like we go into this like whole mindset thing. It happens.
Or they get it from eBay or Amazon,
Yeah.
right? Just because it's cheaper. Or they get it from Beachbody. And you don't get credit if somebody orders from Beachbody. You only get it if they order from Team Beachbody, right? So
Right.
think about that too.
Yeah, it gets really frustrating. I had one the other day who was a customer of mine, and she said she has a local area coach who sells Shakeology at our price. So she bought it from her. She canceled her HD order with me, bought it from her. Like, and in her mind, she's saving $1 or $2. Like, I get it. Did it piss me off? Absolutely. Is it frustrating? Totally. But is it going to kill me? No. Because when I lose one, I'm going to replace that one with 2. In my mind, because again, that's how I get where I'm like, I use those things to push myself forward and make myself work harder. But you're going to have these instances because you have to, in your mind, think of how many coaches are out there. I think we're like 300,000 or something crazy like that. Everybody knows like 5 Beachbody coaches. Everybody does. So it's going to happen where you are talking to someone and you realize that they bought from their neighbor or from their cousin. I had one guy that I was working on him for months for the 21-day fix. 6 months later, he bought it from his fiance's like 3rd cousin who like they don't even speak to, and now he's a coach. Like that should have been mine. I worked that sale, like I worked him on that, but it happens. So just if you need to pout about it, pout, but get over it and realize that there are still a ton of other people that you can help. And none of this is done intentionally, right? People are not out there trying to not give you sales because it's some kind of vindictive thing. It's just, a lot of people just don't get it. They don't get how this works. And it's going to happen, right? Try in your mind to use all these things that we've talked about that tick you off and make you angry and they're frustrating or whatever the emotion that's attached to it. Use it to drive you forward instead of hold you back. Use it as like a little lighter under your tuchus instead of like water over your flame, right? Do not let it discourage you and make you think that this is not what you're cut out for and you can't handle this. Have it like ignite that like competitive part of you, even if you're a pearl and you're not into like competitive stuff, but you got to find something in there that like drives you and pushes you forward. And each of these situations can do that for you. That's all I got. Any questions?
Hey guys, I had a coach. I hear myself.
Greg got to mute himself.
I had a not a coach. I had a customer with two couples, and I sent them all Shakeology shaker bottles and samples and all that. And about 4 or 5 months, they were doing T25. They all fell off the wagon. And then about 2 weeks, her husband texted me. He said, "Oh, by the way, my wife, she signed up as a coach." I was like, "Really?" So I checked my backline office. I didn't see her anywhere. So I asked him, and he's like, "Oh, her best friend just signed up, and she told her to just go ahead along with her and sign up as a coach." So, I mean, it bothered me, but you just got to move on. There's other people. Maybe she wasn't meant to be on my team, so that's the way I see it.
It's going to happen. It happens to every single one of us.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, so one of the reasons why I'm only at 1 point now, I had 2, and now I'm at 1, is because one of the ones that I sold switched over to another coach. So they took that commission and took those 2 points. And again, like, so now I'm down basically 2 this month, right? But it's going to happen. There are so many coaches out there that at some point or another, it will happen on more than one occasion where someone switches and it's frustrating. But again, when you lose 1, you replace it with 2.
Yeah.
2 that are better.
Yeah. And she's been contacting me and her husband, because she's afraid. She don't think she can make it. She don't think this is for her. And I'm like, I wish I could help, but, I said, talk to your coach. Talk to the one that, told you, sign up, because she's supposed to be the one helping. Yeah. But, she's always now, like Brian said, well, not Brian, I think it was Perry, just liking all my quotes on my posts, even on Instagram. She started finding me on Instagram. I'm like, stalker. But you know what? If she wants to see it, she could get ideas from me, but I'm not going to go out of my way to help.
Yeah, I mean, you can still stay in contact. Like I'll still kind of like stay in contact with those people, but if they've gone over to somebody else completely, yeah, like at that point, you don't have my undivided attention anymore. I'm going to give my attention to my customers, yeah, and my coaches, not to you, because you chose to like jump ship or go to somebody else. And if they were that appealing to take you, then like you need to stay over there. But I mean, like you can still. Like I'll still offer advice or whatnot when they ask for it, but I don't devote all of my time to them like I would my own customer.
Yeah, I just don't have time for her right now. I'm still aggravated, but
you can pout.
I
am get over it.
I am with Sagi in the morning.
Yeah. But see, he's Latin too, so he can't help it. It's just how we are.
But I'm good. Tomorrow's another day.
Exactly.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Frustrations? You pouting? Get it out.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
I have a couple people that are that are starting to hit me up with a little interest with coaching opportunity. And I'm having a hard time finding enough material to keep them interested. I'm not finding all the information that you guys gave me. There's so much information on the Team Beachbody website that I'm having a hard time filtering it all to get it into one thing for these guys.
Do you have the recording, the webinar that Lisa and I did?
I have a link to it from where you have it on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great thing that you could share with them.
Okay.
And another thing that you could do, if they're open to it, is, you know, I'm willing to hop on a call with you and them and answer all their questions, you know, and get them signed up under you. So.
All right, I'll run that by them too.
Okay, but I would start with the video, and then we can kind of go from there, you know?
Okay, I downloaded the Coach Opportunity PowerPoint file, and it looks pretty similar to what you guys did in that video, and I was going to try to kind of fix that.
Yeah, we started with that, and we kind of modified it, made it our own. So, yeah, I mean, you could go through that. It's up to you.
All right, good deal. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's best to speak from your experience, you know? I mean, because those slides aren't really you, right? So, you know, you could talk about what Insanity is doing, or T25, or whatever you're doing, right? Whatever that's doing for you, and Shakeology, and how you like that, and, you know, and the business, you know, what you know about it. And just say, hey, if you want more information, we get on the phone with my coach, you know, Greg, and he'll give you a lot more information, you know.
But that's the point where I struggle, because I haven't learned the business much yet. That's where I get a little stumbled when they want more information.
Yeah. So you could do that video or offer a phone call, and just let me know. I'm available all the time.
I will, brother.
All right. So what's next after this? Because this kind of ends, this is the last week of our, you know, beginner strategy session. So what we're going to do is next week, we are going to start over. So if you are a coach who came in late, you know, if you added in the middle of our strategy sessions, we're going to start over next week, and we're going to start at the beginning, which is Success Club. And then we'll go in Success Club and how to get to Emerald, you know, and then we'll go into how to deal with social media and how to expand your warm market. So if you guys missed those, you're welcome to attend. You know, we're going to be meeting every Monday at 8 o'clock now, not 9 o'clock. Okay, so 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then for those of you who have gone through like all 6 weeks and you're comfortable with everything that we've covered and you're ready to move on, well, at 9 o'clock, we're going to have, Brian, Lisa, and I are going to have a push accountability group. You know, so if you're still in the basics, you know, you may not want to attend the push accountability group. You know, but if you understand the basics and understand everything we've covered and you're ready to go on to that next level, then come to the 9 o'clock on Monday, okay? Because we're going to be doing stuff like keeping you accountable. You know, we're going to ask you to set weekly goals, and we're going to ask you how it went. So we'll be like, hey, Jay, you know, how'd it go this week? You know, you said you were going to start a free group. Did you do it? You know, how many people did you get? And then you guys are going to drive the conversation. It's not like the past 6 weeks where we're going to come in and we're going to give you lectures about, you know, different topics. You guys are going to tell us what you need help with, what you're frustrated with, what objections you're hearing, and then we're going to tell you, you know, give our advice and how to overcome those, you know. And then we'll set objectives for the following week. So does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. All right. So
Challenge group accountability, but for your coaching.
Right. We don't care if you drank your Shakeology or you worked out. That's what the premier group's for.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Dave Adolphin here. So I just joined last night, and I think it was last night. Yeah, I've been away for weeks, so my mind's all discombobulated. But yeah, this was a good session for me. Actually, hearing the setbacks and the things that get a little frustrating before I hear anything else. So, so that's good to hear. You know, some of the frustrations as I enter into this, as opposed to on the tail end. You know, so get that out of the way, and we'll move on to other things. So I appreciate people's candor on what they experience, and a lot of it, you know, it does make sense, even though I'm quite green. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. And, you know, sometimes I tell my coaches, like, you know, if you disappear and, you know, you lose your focus, what do you want me to do? You know, how do you want me to handle that? Do you want me to, you know, call you up and slap you upside the head, or do you just want me to ignore you? You know, so yeah, think about that. Let me know. You know, when you get distracted or you feel like you're frustrated or stumbling, you know, how do you want to handle that? You know, and how do you want me to handle that as your coach, or Lisa or Brian to handle that? So.
Right. Cool.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. We'll see you next Monday.
Thank you, y'all.
Okay. Good night.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.